For this scenario, our beacons are just on the surface of the snow. You can practice a lot of this stuff without burying beacons while you're trying to learn tone checks, the implications of tone checks, and then how to use these alternative strategies. So in this case, I have two beacons that are fairly close together. I stop at 10 meters, which is where I am now, to do my first tone check, and I instantly can recognize from the sound, beep, 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 that there's two victims out there. Again, now I know the closest one is about 10, and the second one could be up to 15 meters away. So we don't know yet if they're close. We just know we have two within about 15 meters. We continue doing our traditional digital techniques, and again, as a reminder, we're going to stop again at 3. 10, 9, 8, 6, 5, 3. I'm going to stop again. At 3, you still hear two loud beeps. So now you know they're close together. Your closest one is about 3 meters. The second one can be as much as 4.5. But you don't need to remember all that stuff. You just need to remember if you hear multiples at 3, you know they're close. In this case, we can see them on the snow. We can see they're close. I go and I find my first victim using the guided find search. Bam, it's telling me to probe. I get my probe strike and I mark. Now in this case, the beacon's working perfectly well. Partly because I'm searching for good modern technology, and it's giving me the find search icons, which would allow me to digitally find the second victim. But again, if I was searching for older technology where the likelihood and the effects of overlap could be more severe, I have a way to find this second victim when the digital is not giving me information I need. Maybe I've hit mark and it isn't giving me any information about the second victim. Again, because those tones are so overlapped, okay? So how would I solve that? Well, because I was listening to my tone checks on approach, I know they're close together. So I don't have to get flustered. I know now I'm going to go into analog mode, which I have showed you how to do already. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get as close as possible to victim number 1. Okay, by doing that, by getting closer, I'm forcing the range down of the beacon even more. And you can hear that I've gotten very close and I only hear 1 beep. If I heard 2 beeps at this point, then I would know that they were so close together, they were virtually on top of each other. And if I'd already gotten a probe strike, I should just put my beacon away and excavate. But in this case, as you can hear, I got pretty close. I only hear 1 beep. So what I'm going to do, just like with the micro search strip, I'm going to treat this as a find search technique, hold it in a fixed axis, close to my ear, and I'm going to back up until I hear 2 beeps. Okay? Well, here I am, and I hear 2 loud beeps. Guess what the number is on the screen? Well, you can guess because you're basically reversing what you had on approach. The number is 2.9. Well, on my 3-meter tone check, I heard 3, so that makes sense. Okay? So now I'm going to look at target number 1. We'll just put a ski pole there just so that you can all see where target number 1 is clearly. And of course, we would turn that beacon off in a real life situation if we could. We're saying our friends are excavating and it's taking time, and I don't want to wait for them to go find the second victim. So I've backed up until I heard 2 loud beeps. I look visually at the distance. It's a little more than a body length, okay? It's maybe 8 feet away, which makes sense that it's reading, in this case, now 2.5, okay? So 2.5 on the screen and maybe 8 feet. I don't know in which direction the other beacon is, but I do now know that the distance is going to be very similar. So I am going to do a box around this first target, and the number should not change because I'm maintaining the same distance. The number should not change unless, bam, suddenly I'm very close to another target. So as you can see, I'm keeping my distance the same. It says 2.5 still, 2.6, 2.4, because it's hard to keep the exact distance. right, 2.5. I'm keeping the beacon at my knee in a fixed orientation. And now, I have a number of 1.2 on the screen. I look up, I'm like, did I accidentally get too close to the first victim? No, I've maintained my distance. I must be very close to another target. I continue to do a traditional grid search now, 0.7, okay. I didn't get that close to victim number 1. 0.7, number goes up, number goes up. Here we are with a 0.4, 0.3 probe. Okay, so again, it's the tone checks that give you the clues. They give you the clues of how many people you have out there and relatively how close they are. If you ever have multiples at 10, then you know, okay, my closest one's about 10 and the rest could be as much as 15 meters away. If you ever have multiples at 3, then you know that you've got multiples in a close area. If you need an alternative search strategy, which you should not, right? Hopefully the digital is going to work well and it's going to be a mark type scenario. But again, this is most common when you're searching for older technology where overlap is prevalent. So if you're ever struggling to find a secondary target, you want to revert to an alternative search strategy. Those are the microsearch box when you know they're close together and the microsearch strip when you know they're not. And you know that and you learn that while you're approaching by doing your tone checks, which take about 1 to 2 seconds each. They don't add any time, but they give you a technique that you already know you're going to use if you ever start struggling to find those secondary targets.